Hey YouTube, it's Evan Magician 34, and not only that, but it's the beginning of September in 2010. Yes, that's right, if you're about to post the comment, "Oh, that's not the ban list," and it is past March of 2011, yeah, you might want to check the last thing I said, because I've gotten a lot of comments lately from people talking about stuff that's like a year old and saying it's not accurate. Yeah, but anyway, this is a video about the September 2010 ban list. And it's essentially, as we start our new environment, crack open our new tins full of battle faders and values and whatnot, it's important to think about, hey, where's this environment going? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? There were 21 changes to the ban list this go-around. I've gone ahead and broken them down into what I think is going to be good, okay, kind of questionable, and I do have one card in a special category by itself. I'm going to explain it all really quickly and why I think of it the way I do. Feel free to comment your opinion, and I'll tell you if you're right or wrong after that. Okay, mostly just kidding. So yeah, let's get to it. First card, Substitute. Killed a deck that was just way too obnoxious for its own good and placed a little too high. You basically know the reasons. Rescue Cat, too good, too many things, and let's face it, with the most recent set that just came out, yeah, way too many good things. I did not want to see this with Mind Mole. You do not want to see a Goyo Guardian that can produce like +3. It's ridiculous. Heavy Storm? Yeah, I know. We've all loved it. We've all used it for so very long. But the reality of it is, it was really too powerful for too little cost. It belonged on the list of all the other ban cards. It just never had really happened. It will allow many other decks to potentially exist and flourish in an environment where previously very few decks had been able to exist because they just had overwhelming consistency which had been built into their themes, like X-Sabers, for example. The absence of Heavy Storm will allow more control-oriented decks to come up and kind of stop this super speed-based environment we've seen. Because for once, you can actually set all your back rows and you won't have to worry about your opponent's all-too-common first-turn Heavy Storm. So this is actually a really good change and a very important change, and I think the longer-term players of the game will probably appreciate this on a level that maybe some of the newer players won't at first. So yeah, Infernity Launcher, another important one. Infernities can still be built, yeah, but the really obnoxious turn where you basically, oh, I have no cards in my hand, reanimate Arcfiend, get a launcher, reanimate an Arcfiend, get a launcher, and sync about 1 billion times disappears, which was a pretty unfair interaction, so that's an important change too. That going to 1 helps control that. You can play it, but you can't play it out the wazoo. Royal Oppression just stopped way too much stuff, was too flexible, and crowded out a lot of other valid cards that were maybe a little more reasonable. Plus you can't just go crazy and flip this as easily because you've only got 1. And it prevents obnoxious forms of control too. So I think Royal Oppression going to 1 is a good way to go. It's another one of those cards that arguably shouldn't even exist. Alright, Snipe Hunter being at 2, it's actually good. He's very reasonable in this environment. He's a good check for Stardust Dragon. He's not unreasonable because he's fairly slow in tempo. He's a more generalized card. I think it'll be fun to see him at 2, and I don't think he'll hurt anybody. The only deck that'll probably directly benefit right now is maybe Gadget's Machina Gadget. But even then, the rest of the environment should be able to handle it pretty well without it being too crazy. So, good addition. Ojamatria checks a lot of other decks and has a lot of natural controls, like the fact that the materials created off Ojamatria can be used to sync for stuff. So it comes with a lot of risks too. This card definitely needed to go to 2, largely because it wasn't really a threat before. So yeah, it's good at 2, and I think maybe even in the future it could easily go to 3. Time will tell. It was the main reason this thing got axed in the first place, other than the fact that synchros weren't really an issue at the time, was the fact that it was a part of the Chain Burn, Chain Strike deck. So that's not really much of an issue. Maybe Chain Burn will actually be kind of playable this format, who knows. So we'll just wait and see. Magic Cylinder, part of another factor of Burn might actually be playable again. It never really got played. It's not that offensive. There's a lot of removal for back rows, and there need to be some checks for other decks that exist. Magic Cylinder's outright damage for low cost can help check powerhouse attacks, especially in the absence of Heavy Storm. So I think it's a good addition. I mean, I may be proven wrong over time, but I don't think we're even going to see that much of this card despite it being at 2. But who knows? I think it'll give players who don't write this card off a bit of an edge early on in this format. So, we'll wait and see. Goblin Zombie. Zombies just aren't that offensive anymore. They're not fast enough, bottom line. Zombie being at 3, recruiters have had such a hard time in the last format. I really think Zombie being at 3 won't make a bit of difference. So, that's just fine. Treeburn Frog. He's one of those cards that really 1 copy is all you need. Him being at 2, not a big deal. Him being at 3, definitely not a big deal, especially with Substitute being at 1, or sorry, being banned. So yeah, definitely we can see Treeburn Frog at 3, and I don't think he'll make a lick of difference. St. Ghost United we stand. They took it to 2 kind of tentatively in the last format almost. It going to 3, not going to make another lick of difference, I think. I think a few players may try to use it with, say, Power Tool Dragon. But overall, still not that crazy, not overpowered, especially not by our current standards. So, it's just a good move, mainly because there's no reason not to. And if a card shouldn't be on the list as semi-limited or limited or banned, then it should be taken off completely. It shouldn't just sit there for all eternity. So, good move on that one. Alright, moving on. Brain Control. That getting banned is an okay move. I don't know if I'd say good, because it does check a lot of powerful cards on the field, and, you know, it's just a good control against craziness. So, the removal of Brain Control leaves pretty much Mind Control is the only decent steal mechanism anymore, and that has a lot of limitations. So, Brain Control's absence, yeah, we'll wait and see. My personal guess is that it's going to end up being a good thing. It's going to make the environment more healthy. But, we're going to wait and see. Black Whirlwind, yeah, really it should have been at 1. It just gives Black Wings a lot of unfair power. Unfortunately, it might have been nice to have left them with Whirlwind at 2 for another format to help them become competitive again versus other decks in the new format. But I think as time wore on in the environment, this may prove to be another good change. Chaos Sorcerer, it's an okay move. It could allow for some craziness in the absence, but once again, the main reason this makes my okay instead of good list is the fact that it just seems to be toggling between 1 and 2 lately from ban list to ban list, and isn't having much impact on the format at all. And really, arguably, we could even theoretically see this guy at 3, and it might not make that big an impact. We might see Twilight try to come back this format, though, and if so, him being at 2 might prove to be more of a thorn in your side than you think. But still, with only 1 return and no Dimension Fusion or anything, I don't think it'll be too offensive. MST at 2? Good to replace Storm, fair. Removing 1 is better than removing a million. But the fact that there's going to be a lot of setting and now, oh, it's going to blow your stuff away before it even gets a chance to go off. It's going to make trouble for chaining. It's going to get really obnoxious. And so, while there is Dust Tornado for that too, MST has that added flexibility. It may get kind of irritating, and we'll wait to see. I think this being a 2 is going to overshadow some of the other good Spell Trap Destruction that just hasn't gotten a chance to shine yet. So, we'll wait and see. Cyber Dragon at 3, not really any more destructive than it was at 2. 1 or 2 decks will get more obnoxious. Another one that arguably could have just, have been at 3, maybe floated at 2. I don't know. It didn't feel great, so that's why I made this list, basically. Alright, questionable. Monster Reborn. This creates a lot of problems. It's just one of those random overpowered cards, and frankly we could have lived without it. So, why it made the back to 1, I think they may have been just trying to compensate for all this stuff. All the other cards they took away. So I think that's probably why we got it back again. But it creates too many unfair, oop, I kill you just because I happen to have it in my hand, not because I played well kind of situations. A similar kind of reasoning for Dark Hole. It'll be good check for X-Sabers, but that's, once again, just too many people are going to top deck it and kill you. And that's just annoying. Black Rose at 3. It got taken to 1 for a reason. It's got way too much effect on the game, too much blow you up power. And considering that we have Royal Oppression over here at 1 now, this could get really annoying really quickly. It does kind of balance Heavy Storm being gone, I realize, but yeah, that could easily become a problem. So I don't know if that really should be at 3. I think 1 was probably a pretty healthy place for a card with the ability it has. Decree at 3, once again, it seems like we're trading one evil for another. And Decree at 3 has always been really annoying and kind of ugh. So, I don't know. I mean, at least it's kind of a slower form of it. You can't just straight up kill somebody in 1 turn. But still, Royal Decree is just a pain, and it kills so many other potentially good cards because the traps have a lot to offer in this game. It'd be nice to see them come back. Anyway, and the only other thing is Duloran. I realized he mainly went to 2 so that we could parallel the Japanese list. But really, first of all, let's appreciate how long the name of the one card is. Also, bottom line, yes, he's very good. He's got a lot of potential. But him being at 2 and him being at 3 is pretty much the same thing. So either put him at 1, guys, or live with him at 3. This is just annoying. Alright, and so there you have it. The September 2010 ban list. And until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and enjoy.